Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. I'm your host, Kiera Dent, and I had this crazy idea that maybe I could combine a doctor and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, regional manager, practice owner, and I have a team of traveling consultants where we have traveled to over 165 different offices coaching teams. Yep, we don't just understand you, we are you. Our mission is to positively impact the world of dental, and I believe that this podcast is the greatest way I can help elevate teams, grow VIP experiences, reduce stress, and create A-teams. Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Kiera, and you guys, Voices of Dentistry is where I'm at, and I was a chicken, and I didn't want to podcast with anyone, even though I am a host of a podcast. But people are really nice and they're coming up to the booth, and I'm so excited to have you guys chat with Amol. Amol is the founder and CEO. Here we go. CEO of Patient Prism. And I've heard about Patient Prism. So to meet him in real life, I've had a lot of practices use Patient Prism. Loved it. They said that it was able to help their practice a ton. So I was so excited that Amol showed up, told me what his business was. And I was like, I know you. I know about your product. I'm so happy to meet you. So Amol, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I am doing excellent. What an amazing show this is, right? The energy level is superb. People are friendly. And I'm new to this podcasting world. I mean, we do a lot of stuff ourselves over there,
Sure.
but this has been the most welcoming audience that I've met in a long time.
Oh, good. The Dental Team, I feel like we just understand people and we meet people where they're at, and it's a fun place. And the goal of the Dental Team is to really just help people rise to a higher level of themselves and to give tangibles that they can take and implement right away. So,
amen. I said this in an earlier podcast. I was saying we're here to facilitate team greatness, right? Mm-hmm. We're here to make you better. Mm-hmm. And in our case, we're trying to make the front team better at their jobs. And really, it is about the patient experience.
Right.
At the end of the day, what you guys do, we're all here so that we can make dentistry more accessible to more patients because we know it changes their lives.
Right.
And that's the ultimate goal, right? Yes, we end up making money in the process. That's wonderful.
Sure.
But I think our true fulfillment comes from the fact that we can actually make an impact on people's lives.
Right. Absolutely. And so I love what you guys do. So tell us a little bit about Patient Prism, because I think an area that we've noticed when we coach offices, we go in there, is the front office. Front office is hard. I mean, I taught at a dental college for quite a while, and they don't teach front office. So high five, like it's a hard area. And the front office really doesn't have any formal training. We do training with the Dental team to help out, but tell us a little bit about Patient Prism, because I'm super intrigued by it.
So I formed this company by accident. I'm not a technology. I'm not a technology guy, despite my Indian credentials. I'm a CPA. I was in CPA in dental space for 20 years.
Okay.
Served over 500 dental practices, understanding their books and understanding their operations.
Sure.
And one day, out of a midlife crisis moment, I created a marketing company for dentists.
Okay.
Because I was really good at marketing.
How did you go from CPA to marketing?
I was really good at marketing for my CPA firm.
Oh, okay.
And we had used a strategy that reverse engineered some content strategy to say get the right type of patient. So we're like, why don't I do this for another industry? I didn't want to deal with accountants at the time. I'm like,
why not? Let's talk about that.
Well, they're a good bunch, and I was one of them, but. I figured I wanted something different, and dentists were my biggest client base at the time. We're like, why don't we do this for dentistry? And I created a marketing company called Dentist Profit Systems, which basically went to dental offices and said, what kind of patients would you like to see more of? And they used to say, I'd like to see 5 more Invisalign this month. Okay, wonderful. And we delivered them that patient.
Wow.
In that process, we realized that no matter how good we were in driving leads into these offices, if these leads were not being converted into appointments, all that marketing dollars were a waste.
Right.
And we started listening to phone calls at the time using some call tracking systems. And we realized that was a tedious process. Who's got the time to listen to all the phone calls that come in?
Well, you're speaking to all those office managers out there that were like, hey, train your front office, listen to all these phone calls. And like, when do I have time for this?
There's no time to go to the bathroom sometimes.
Right,
exactly. Let alone listen to phone calls, hundreds of them every day. And me and my co-founder, Mike, we said one day, could we really train Alexa to understand dentistry? That was the first question we asked. And could we train a machine that the idea of natural language processing, which is a subset of AI, where it processes people's language and identifies certain things with them?
Sure.
Could we train it to understand the dental nuance? Lo and behold, we said, let's try it out. 2 years later, we got 2 patents issued by the USPTO.
Wow.
We're like, oh my God, we must be innovative. We must be onto something good. We launched Patient Prism. And lo and behold, now we serve over 800 practices across the country.
Wow.
And we keep growing at about 50 a month now. And what we do is simple, right? When a new patient calls an office.
It's specifically for new patients. Is that what it's for?
Yeah, it works for existing as well. But we kind of tell people to start working on the lowest hanging fruit.
Sure.
Which is new patients. And when a new patient calls an office today, right now statistics say that there's only a 55% chance that they will actually schedule an appointment.
Sure.
So all these 40 to 45% of patients are not booking on the first try.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that you're right, as you said earlier, training is lacking in the front. And we're not really hiring people to be sales folks.
Sure.
Because sales is a bad word.
It does feel a little yucky, right?
Yeah, it feels bad, but and we teach them to be order takers. What's the order? Oh, let me see where I can find you the schedule, put them in, and that's it. And what happens as a result is the patient doesn't develop that trust instantly.
Sure.
They're looking to trust you right away. Have I called the right place? Are they going to take care of me? Is this going to hurt? Is this going to cost too much? All these objections. Now, if you try to create more objections on the phone, the patient's going to say, no, I don't feel good. I'm going to call the next guy. And
I say it's like dentist Tinder. They can just swipe and swipe and swipe until they find someone they like.
That is exactly right?
Exactly.
And so what we do is we use AI to analyze that conversation quickly. So when a new patient doesn't book an appointment on the phone, within 30 minutes, an office gets an alert saying, a visual alert where they don't have to listen to the phone call and say, oh, this is what went wrong at 2 minutes, 30 seconds. We shouldn't have mentioned that they need a root canal here. There's no need to diagnose anything on the phone.
Interesting.
So we take 17 different variables. We analyze every new patient calls based on those 17 variables. Did they do it or not do it? And based on that, if the patient doesn't book, you have an opportunity. We also include training. So every alert gets 2 or 3 short training videos on how to fix that problem the next time around.
Gotcha.
So it's a team training tool as well. So over a period of time, your folks get better at converting more patients to booked appointments. Your return on investment and marketing is better because you're spending all that dollars.
Totally.
You're getting them to convert more of them. And in the meantime, you've created a culture of excellence in the front.
Absolutely.
And you've elevated the journey of the patient. And that's what it's all about, really.
Exactly. It's how do you make that experience amazing for them? How do you ensure that they get the best quality? And also, I do love that you have a very proactive training approach. I mean, we're all about team training. Everything we do is team, helping the teams out. If you didn't notice, our name is Dental A Team. It's all about team.
Absolutely.
But I love that you send over the notes and how to, like a video to say like, hey, this is where it went wrong and this is how to fix it.
Correct.
Most of the time it's like, this is where you went wrong, but there's no how to fix it. So how did you guys come up with those videos? Do you have like office people on site?
Yeah.
Or are you just noticing?
So if you go to, we created something called Patient Prism Academy.
Okay.
And the idea was based on this Khan Academy approach where let's invite the best people in the business to our studios in Tampa.
Sure.
People like you. And everybody, we have over 45 consultants and speakers and CEOs and a VP of operations, hygiene consultants, dental assistant guy come in and in abundance, they have recorded in short increments of what it is that they do that elevates dentistry.
Gotcha.
And so we have over 950 videos now that we've created over the last 2.5 years.
Wow.
In our studio in Tampa. And we invite everybody. We're not here to tell them to buy anything.
Sure.
We're here to give them education that allows them to make the decision of what they need for themselves. And on this podcast, I'm inviting you to come down to our studios.
Right.
And
Awesome.
let's talk about dental A team training. And let everybody in dentistry understand what you guys do.
Sure.
And in that process, what we've created is content that actually resonates with the different groups of people within the organization. And specifically, out of the 950 videos, there's 300 of them have specifically to do with overcoming patient objections over the phone.
Sure.
And things like, how do you handle an anxious patient? How do you handle a person with out-of-network insurance? How do you deal with people who are Spanish speaking? How do you talk about all on four? How do you talk about dental implants? All that kind of stuff, right? And that training over and over again really empowers the team with the confidence.
Right.
They can have better conversations with the patients.
Totally.
And it makes all the difference.
Right. I say a lot of times, practice doesn't make perfect. Like, let's break that old adage. And practice makes permanent. And so it's really just, what are we practicing day in, day out? Okay. I know when I was a scheduler up front, I used to think I was the nicest person up front when someone would call to cancel on me and say, hey, I need to cancel my appointment. I thought I was doing my practice a service by being, oh, no problem. Let me reschedule you. I did not know that there were 7 different ways that I could take that phone call and help them have a better experience, help my schedule, help my team. But it's just really, I was just practicing that. That was a routine I had set myself into, making sure I learned a different way to practice. So I love that there's training and there's a proactive approach with Patient Prism. So
absolutely. And we're excited because it does make a difference, for most practices. And we will make sure that when we onboard a customer, we will make sure that they're the right fit. If they're not, for example, if they don't have enough call volume coming into it, there's no point analyzing if there's not enough new patients.
Sure.
If they don't have the team buy-in, as you know in training, right? One of the hardest things to do, you can go out and train the best people out there and do all this stuff, but they still have to do the job.
It's true.
Right? You can't. It's not like, okay, here's my training in a box, and all of a sudden magically things are going to appear.
Right.
Accountability is important, and them doing the stuff, and they have to really buy into the why this matters. And we spend a lot of time through our client success team to ensure the buy-in from the office managers, from the regional managers to the DSO level, from the front office team, to tell them that this ain't no big brother watching.
Right.
This is coaching you to be your best, to perform at your best, to optimize your performance.
Sure. Because
with training, and I'm speaking to the choir, with training you can fix everything.
Sure. Absolutely. Everything. Exactly. I like that. I think that that's a fun, it's a different approach, but I also can see why you would need team buy-in, because if they think they're being ridiculed, or they think they're being demeaned, or, oh, every single call I do isn't good enough, you got to get that team buy-in. And that's what we coach a lot on is, guys, like, let's just take you where you're at and rise you to a higher level. Absolutely. And if we don't see where we're at, how can we rise to a higher level?
Absolutely. And part of our coaching process in the alert system, we have this color-coded approach. Green is good, red is bad, and yellow is a tip. So
hey, pretty easy.
we make sure that every conversation has a few greens on it. Everybody does. I mean, sometimes they just need a little calibration to get them to the play. But if they do a good job, we're going to pat them on the back.
Totally.
So it's partly not giving them, oh my God, you did this wrong, did this wrong. Like, you did these things right. There's a few things we can improve you on. Like, for example, every time a patient says they have no insurance, you never offer your discount plan or your financing options.
Right.
Those are the things that sometimes you just need somebody to tell you that.
Right, exactly.
And once you're told, once you make that calibration switch, boom, it clicks, and then there you are.
Right.
And nobody wants to suck at their jobs.
Exactly.
People want to do better.
They do.
If you just got to give them the tools. And you guys give them the tools on all aspects, right?
That's definitely what we strive to do, for sure.
Is giving them tools that that'll make them successful. And we provide that. We're in that niche model, right? Phone call. We want to make sure we earn their trust, them to come into the office. Once that happens, then the harder journey starts where you come in, right? What happens when the patient comes in the door?
Right.
What's their patient experience like?
Exactly.
What does the hygiene handoff look like? And all that stuff that you guys do is way more important, right, than what we do. But our job, we think.
Well, you got to get them in the door. That's the first impression.
If patient ain't coming in, you can't do anything else for that.
Exactly. And we always say, so often we put Susie on the front phones who doesn't have any training. We're like, hey, cheapest person, we're going to just put you on the phone. And we forget that we're spending all this money on marketing, but we're not even closing those new patients that call in. And I mean, you guys have heard we have the 5-minute new patient phone call that we coach on, where it's really like staying away from a lot of those objectives.
Correct.
But objections. But I love that this is a good training that you guys offer. I have an office that uses you guys and they love it. They've said that their new patient conversion has actually greatly increased due to using Patient Prism. So
it's great to hear.
Yeah,
it's great to hear.
It's fun. It's fun to hear like success stories that your product's actually working.
It is the most fulfilling thing that I ever hear from clients. No, I appreciate you having me.
Of course. I appreciate
show.
you stopping by. So if people are interested in Patient Prism, how do they get in contact with you?
Well, the best way is go to www.patientprism.com.
Okay.
And schedule a demo.
Cool.
Learn from one of our sales team members. We'll give you a demo, show you what it is, and follow us on social media. Facebook, Patient Prism page is amazing. YouTube, we have over 350 videos on YouTube.
Cool.
LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn and just participate in the journey that we're going through because it's so amazing.
Oh,
Dentistry is just such an amazing profession that
Agreed.
has such a big impact on people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
And we're so fortunate to be in it.
I agree.
To actually impact that. It's
I know,
just
it's
so
fun.
fulfilling.
It's so fulfilling. I love that. And I appreciate you giving them a place to go. Well, and I love that you've got this great spot for them to go. So I know you had mentioned before you wanted to do something special for the Dental A-Team podcast listeners. So I wanted to be sure to give you a chance to let them know if they want to try out Patient Prism to see if it works for them, a way for them to do that.
Absolutely. And I love helping our offices and for your team members because you guys are already getting them prepped to kind of buy into this. It's great. So we would love to offer a 50% off for 90 days.
Oh, cool.
That your team member, they just have to mention that they listen to this podcast.
Yes.
And then they would get 50% off for the 90 days.
Cool.
No obligation to continue.
Awesome.
They can just cancel it. Give us a 30-day notice after 60 days saying, hey, it's not really working out.
Sure.
And we will absolutely get them off.
Okay.
But they get 50% off and
Cool.
We'll get that done.
Awesome. And I love that because I'm a big proponent that, products out there, additional add-ons to a practice, they work fantastic for some practices and for others they're not. So I love that you're willing to let them try it, test it, see if it works for them. And honestly, guys, I always say, find the products that work for you because there's so many things that make our lives easier. So if this works and converts even 1 or 2 new patients for you, probably will pay for itself just in that conversion. So I love that. Amol, thank you for stopping by the booth and getting me out of my comfort zone to podcast at a podcasting event.
Of course. Thank you. It's such a pleasure meeting you.
Oh,
you
likewise.
really made my day with all the amazing comments. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Dental A-Team listeners, this was Amol with Patient Prism. And thank you all for listening. And I'll catch you next time on the Dental A-Team podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of our Dental A-Team family. Now, we're going to take it to the world. So help us out. Help us positively impact the world of dental by leaving us a review, leaving us 5 stars. This is how we can spread it to the masses and help even more people grow to a better version of themselves. Thank you guys so much. And thank you for being a part of my Dental A-Team family.